All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome to the first video. This is gonna be on how to lead a small group. This is just one-on-one things to have in mind as you start your small group, as you start leading a group of 15, maybe 20 teenagers. Dear Lord, have mercy on your soul. You can do it. We're gonna have a lot of fun. But I want to tell you a quote by John Maxwell that hit me in the face one time, and he says, everything rises and falls on leadership. So the success of this group, no, it doesn't matter if you have a rowdy kid or a non-rowdy kid, if kids won't stop talking or if they're extremely quiet, it all comes down to your leadership. And so it's vital that you lead well, that you do this with passion and love and integrity and excellence. And so we want to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you about 4 points that are super important. And we're going to come back in the other videos. I'm going to mention 1 point a billion times, which is super important. But your posture, your preparation, and your presence will determine the impact. So the first thing I want to tell you about is self-awareness. Oh, self-awareness is so important. Know yourself and your group. Are you talking too much? Is someone like Johnny, I'm going to say Johnny a lot, and that just refers to a random teenager. Is someone like Johnny dominating the conversation? Is Johnny withdrawn or anxious? Learn how to redirect, engage, and read the room without shaming anybody. So I want to talk for just a moment about self-awareness. Jesus said to his disciples, he said, when you enter a room, take the lowliest position, the lowliest seat in the house. And he goes on to tell the story of how a man took the highest position, and when someone else greater came, that man was removed from his seat and he was humbled. And so Jesus actually talked about self-awareness. When you walk into a room, you have to know, who am I here with? Which is the highest seat? These are all referring to what I would call self-awareness. So in the same way as you're leading a small group, okay, what's going on in myself? What's going on in these teenagers? What's the situation? And on top of that, we'll get into this a little bit later, but we are in a spiritual war. So you have to know what is just like myself, this world, versus the Holy Spirit's doing something. So I really want to emphasize is learning how to be self-aware. A great way, and I just mentioned this the other day to a group of teenagers. I said, if you want to be great at leading, one of the best things you can do is ask a leader above you for feedback. Say, how am I doing? Is there anything that you're seeing that maybe I'm not seeing? How's my tone of voice? How's the way I speak? All of these things, the more you keep working on it, is going to create a great leader inside of you. Second thing I'll say is group dynamics, understanding how conversations flow, recognize signs of derailment and tension, use names, affirm participation, and keep things on track with grace. Here's what I mean by that. If you're in a small group and one kid starts going off about this random topic, let's say, and this happened to me a couple months ago where I was in a small group and this young man just starts going off about, the Bible written, 2,000 years ago and all this stuff, and it had nothing at all to do with the group conversation. And so I had to stop him and just say, hey, Johnny, listen, I love what you're asking, but right now we're focusing on these questions and focusing on what the preacher talked about. So in the same way, learning your group dynamic, who's the one who's always talking? And that goes to my third point, which is ownership of the room. At the end of the day, it comes down to you as the small group leader to have a sense of authority that, no, this is my small group. And I have permission to actually tell somebody, hey, you're actually talking a little bit too much. Or a good way to phrase it would be, hey, Johnny, I love your passion for this question, but I'm going to have this person answer right now because you've answered every question so far. So set the tone with the students. Don't just run the group. Build space marked by love, respect, focus, and fun. So here's what I mean by that is oftentimes when I start a small group and it's my first time in there, I will preface it with this. Hey guys, this is a place of safety. You can share whatever you want, but it's also a place of respect. And so please, if someone's sharing, let's respect them by staying quiet, not talking to someone else in the group, by respecting what they have to say, even if you disagree with it or you don't understand it. All these things are going to help build a great small group environment for you guys to thrive. Last thing I'll say is tone and culture. Model vulnerability, honor inclusion, and set expectations early and reinforce them weekly. So, like I said, when I first started a small group, what I said earlier is I said it with respect and love, but then having to maintain that every single week. Sometimes you have to mention that multiple times because, at the end of the day, these are teenagers and they forget things and they can get wild. And we were all in that place at one point. So you're constantly setting the tone for love and respect and vulnerability. And at times that even looks like modeling it. I think one of the greatest things you can do as a small group leader is as you ask a question, answer it yourself. So let's say the preacher or whoever gave the message spoke on a topic like evangelism. The greatest thing you could do is after asking a question, just saying, man, I'll be honest, I hate evangelism. I am so afraid of it. And what you're doing is you're actually breaking open the room to show that vulnerability is powerful. And the more you open up, the more everyone else is going. You lead the way. Okay, so that's the first video on leading a small group. Let me know what you think below, and we'll go over these questions. Let's go on to the next one.